You might ask yourself, what do hobbies have to do with perfectionism? Hi friend, welcome back to the Living Room Diaries, and today, as you can tell, we're talking all about perfectionism. Friend, if you're anything like me, perhaps you struggle with perfectionism, and I unfortunately am not here to tell you today I found the cure-all, but I am starting to see that as I start to craft more, my tolerance or my lack of perfectionism is perhaps expanding though. In 2021, I was talking to someone and I kept complaining about a problem I was having and I wasn't seeing the problem being completely eradicated. And they said, but are you seeing progress? And I said, yeah. And they said, you should focus on the progress rather than looking for perfection. And in my mind, I mentally turned that into progress is the new perfection. And at first, this phrase of mine, while I was trying to make it helpful, just felt empty. You know, kind of like when you start an affirmation but feels empty. And it wasn't until I really started to force myself to see how my situation was progressing that the phrase actually started to help me. Then I started to craft a lot. And if you've ever sewn before or did sublimation or Cricut products, you know that with sewing or to redo stitches, it's kind of tedious because you have to take the stitches out, and depending on the stitch size, that can take a long time or a short time. But at least you can redo or attempt to redo what you messed up. For sublimation, that is not the case. You can buy a coaster or a mug or whatever you're trying to put a design on, and however that thing goes underneath the heat press is how it's going to turn out. You cannot redo it, or at least I haven't found a way. If you have, write in the comments, I want to know. And honestly, that's like, there's no other worse feeling than buying something and just looking at it later when it comes out, like, I had such high hopes for this, and this is how you turn out? Like, it's kind of upsetting. But who wants to have an upsetting hobby? No one. And so I really started to see that if I wanted to keep sewing, or if I wanted to keep doing Cricut products or Cricut or sublimation, I had to start looking at how I was progressing project over project. And trust me, it's not easy. Sometimes I look at it like, I had such high hopes for you, and this is how you turn out. Just because the way I taped you, or just the way you moved just so slightly underneath the heat press, or just because there was not enough pressure. You can see like where I'm coming here. Like my perfectionist is like, you were so close. Rant aside, who wants to have a hobby that is stressful like this? No one. You guys start looking at like, oh, you know what? The last coaster I made sucked. This coaster at least sucks a bit less. And then the next one you make is like, oh my god, this is perfect. You know, like, you gotta look at it that way. And at least I've started to tell myself this. My takeaway for you today is, what project are you not starting, or you kind of started but you're meandering because you're letting perfectionism get in the way? Could you perhaps start slowly, start messy, but at least start, and at least tell yourself progress is a new perfection, and just start to get better step by step? I know it's not easy. I'm talking to myself here too, by the way. Let it be a cringy bonding experience with the project where you're like, oh, you know what? I started so cringy in the beginning, but you know, each step of the way is getting less cringy. And then one day you wake up and you're like, I'm pretty good at this. So friend, while you're doing this, please do not compare yourself to strangers on the internet or people in real life that you may know, and just allow yourself to have fun. Well friend, I'm curious, what project are you starting or just no longer letting perfectionism get in the way of? Write in the comments below. I really want to hear it. If you liked today's video, please like, subscribe, and share it with a friend. Bye friend, I'll see you next week.